They say age is just a number. But when I first saw Eleanor Mitchell walk into the architectural firm on my first day, I knew that some numbers carry weight, the kind that society judges, that families condemn, and that hearts ignore. I'm Jake. I'm 28, and this is the story of how one whispered promise in a moment of weakness unraveled both our lives and somehow stitched them back together in ways neither of us could have imagined. It was a Tuesday morning when I started at Mitchell and Associates, fresh out of grad school, desperate to prove myself in the competitive world of sustainable architecture. I'd researched the firm obsessively, won awards, groundbreaking eco-designs, featured in Architectural Digest. What I hadn't researched was her. Eleanor Mitchell walked into the conference room like she owned not just the firm, but the very air we breathed. Silver streaks ran through her dark hair. She didn't hide them. Laugh lines framed eyes that had seen decades I hadn't lived. At 51, she carried herself with a confidence I was still desperately trying to fake. "Mr. Chen," she said, her voice smooth as aged whiskey. I should have been insulted. Instead, I was captivated. The first 3 months were professional. Painfully, suffocatingly professional. I worked late. She worked later. I'd find notes on my drafts sharp, incisive, always pushing me further. Good isn't good enough, Jake. Surprise me. And I tried. God, how I tried. Not just to impress my boss, but to earn a smile from the woman who seemed to see through every facade I'd ever built. The team joked about how hard she was on me. She only pushes the ones she believes in, Marcus from accounting told me. Or the ones she wants to break. I wasn't sure which I was. Then came the Tokyo project. A sustainable skyscraper design, our firm's biggest pitch in 5 years. Eleanor chose me as her co-lead. The office buzzed with surprise. I was the newest hire. There were senior architects with 15 years of experience. Why me? I asked her after the announcement. She looked up from her desk, those penetrating eyes studying me. Because you see buildings as living things, Jake. The others see them as products. This project needs someone who still believes architecture can change lives. That's when I first felt it, that dangerous flutter in my chest that had nothing to do with career ambition. The Tokyo project consumed us. Late nights became routine. The office would empty until it was just Eleanor and me, blueprint sprawls across the conference table, cold coffee cups multiplying like evidence of our obsession. "Tell me something real, Jake," she said one night at 2 a.m., her guard finally cracking. "Why architecture?" Beyond the resume answer. I hesitated. My grandmother raised me in a one-bedroom apartment in Queens. When I was 12, they built a community center in our neighborhood, all glass and light, with a garden on the roof. It was the first time I saw beauty in concrete. The first time I felt like someone cared about people like us. She was quiet for a long moment. "My daughter is almost your age." The words hung between us, a reminder, a warning, a wall. "I know," I said. "This can't," she started. "I know," I repeated. But knowing didn't stop the way my hand lingered when passing her a pencil. Didn't stop the way she touched my shoulder when pointing out a design flaw, her hand staying a heartbeat too long. The architecture conference in Portland was supposed to be routine. Network. Attend panels. Represent the firm. Eleanor and I flew out together, separate hotel rooms on different floors, everything proper, everything professional, until the hotel messed up our room reservations. "I'm so sorry, Miss Mitchell," the desk clerk said. "The convention has us fully booked. We only have one room available, a suite with separate sleeping areas." I saw the conflict flash across Eleanor's face. We could find another hotel. We could call someone. We could maintain every appropriate boundary. "It's fine," she said finally. "We're professionals. One night won't kill us." But it almost did. The suite was beautiful, panoramic city views, a shared living area with a couch and minibar. 2 bedrooms on opposite sides. We could have avoided each other entirely. We didn't. After the evening panels, we both ended up in that living room. She poured wine. I accepted. We talked about everything except work, her divorce 10 years ago, my fear of never being good enough, her daughter studying medicine in Boston, my mother's disappointment that I didn't become a doctor. Do you ever feel like you're living in the wrong decade? She asked, her third glass making her philosophical. Like everyone else got a manual for how to live, and you're just improvising? Every single day, I admitted. She moved closer on the couch. Or maybe I did. The city lights blurred through the window. Jake, she whispered, and my name on her lips sounded like a prayer and a curse. This is a terrible idea. 105 layers, 100 parts of Venexide. I know. I'm your boss. I'm 23 years older than you. I have a daughter your age. The scandal alone could destroy both our careers. I know. She leaned in, and I could smell her perfume, something expensive and subtle that I'd been noticing for months without admitting it. One kiss. She breathed against my lips. One kiss won't change anything. We'll forget this happened. We'll go back to how things were. Our lips met, and the world shifted on its axis. She was wrong. That kiss changed everything. We didn't speak about it on the flight home. Didn't acknowledge it when we returned to the office. But everything was different. She stopped working late, started assigning me to other project leads. When we passed in the hallway, she'd look away. I was being frozen out, and I understood why she was protecting both of us. But understanding didn't stop it from destroying me. 2 weeks later, I knocked on her office door after everyone had left. Eleanor, we need to talk. There's nothing to discuss, Jake. It was a mistake. We move on. You don't get to decide that alone. You don't get to kiss me like that and then pretend I don't exist. Her mask cracked. You think this is easy for me? You think I don't see you every day and remember? I'm trying to protect you, you stupid, brilliant boy. The office is already talking. Marcus saw us at the hotel bar. People are speculating. Let them talk. You don't understand what you're asking me to risk. Her voice rose. I built this firm from nothing. After my divorce, after everyone said I'd fail, I proved them wrong. One scandal, Jake. One inappropriate relationship with my junior employee, and 20 years of work crumbles. And you? You're 28. You have your whole career ahead of you. You could work anywhere. This would follow you forever. Maybe I don't care. Well, I care, she shouted. I care enough for both of us. That's when her phone rang. Her face went pale as she answered. What? When? Oh God. I'm on my way. She grabbed her coat, hands shaking. What happened? I asked. My daughter, Sophie. There was an accident. She's in the hospital in Boston. I'm driving you to the airport. Jake, I'm driving you. Don't argue. In the car, she broke down. This powerful, controlled woman crumbled, and I held her hand while she sobbed. At the airport, she turned to me. Come with me. What? Please. I can't. I can't do this alone. And if Sophie, if she, her voice cracked, I need you there. Sophie's injuries weren't life-threatening broken leg, concussion, but she'd recover. But seeing Eleanor as a mother, vulnerable and fierce and loving, changed something fundamental in me. And then Sophie woke up and saw us together. Mom? She said groggily. Who's this? This is Jake. He works with me. This is Jake. Sophie studied me with her mother's sharp eyes. You're the architect she talks about. Eleanor's face flushed. Sophie, the pain medication? She mentions you at least once every time we talk. Jake had this brilliant idea. Jake's work ethic is incredible. Sophie smiled despite her injuries. I was starting to think you were fictional. Later, when Sophie was sleeping and Eleanor and I sat in the hospital cafeteria at 3 a.m., she finally said what we'd both been avoiding. My marriage ended because I was too focused on work. I missed years of Sophie's childhood building that firm. I told myself it was worth it, that I was securing our future. But the truth is, I was running from intimacy, from being vulnerable. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. And then you walked into my office with your idealism and your terrible coffee addiction, and for the first time in a decade, I felt something other than ambition. Eleanor, I'm terrified, Jake. Not of what people will say. Not of the age difference. I'm terrified that I'll hurt you the way I've hurt everyone who's ever loved me. That I'll choose work over you like I've chosen it over everything else. I took her hand. Then don't! Choose differently this time. 6 months later, Sophie was recovered and back at medical school. Eleanor and I had been dating, really dating. Openly, publicly, for 4 months. The office gossip lasted about 2 weeks before everyone realized we were actually happy and moved on to more interesting drama. Eleanor's ex-husband sent a snarky email, which she promptly ignored. My mother took longer to come around, but eventually even she admitted that Eleanor made me less of a disaster. We weren't perfect. She still worked too much. I still doubted myself too often. The age gap meant we were at different life stages, wanted different things sometimes. But here's what I learned. Love isn't about timing or logic or what makes sense on paper. It's about finding someone who sees the parts of you that you try to hide and loves them anyway. Someone who challenges you to be better while accepting who you are right now. Eleanor taught me that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the bravest thing we can offer another person. And that kiss? She was right and wrong. It did change everything, but not in the way either of us expected. It changed everything by making us finally, terrifyingly honest about what we wanted. Sometimes the most extraordinary love stories aren't about finding the perfect person at the perfect time. They're about finding someone imperfect at the inconvenient time and choosing them anyway. I'm Jake, I'm 28. And this is our story, the one we almost didn't let ourselves have. Thank you for watching Hidden Truths and Hearts. If this story touched you, please like, subscribe, and share your own story in the comments. Remember, love doesn't follow rules, it follows hearts.